We go back to TypeScript file and remove the ng on init, as we don't need it for now. For the form, we'll be using built-in Angular form builder, which we can initialize here. We can call it FB, and the type is form builder. This one we will import from Angular forms, so we can just write import form builder from Angular forms, just like this. Now we can create a new form variable, which we'll call PollForm, and the type will be form group. This will be a group storing all our form input. In the constructor, we will initialize the form. The form will be equal to new form group, which we'll use through the form builder, just like this. And inside it takes an object of different form controls or even form groups. So in our poll, we want to know the input from the question field. We can call this one a question, which will be the new form builder control, and we initialize it to nothing in the beginning, so it will be empty. The second parameter is optional, but it is validators, which means whether the field is required or not, or we can do any extra logic. For now, let's say we want this input question to be required, so we can write array validators.required. This will be checking whether the value of this control is empty or not. Now that we have a question, we also want to store the input for the image URL. We can just call it image, and this will be again the new form control with value initialized to nothing in the beginning. And then we said this will be optional, so we don't need any validators. We can either pass the empty array or nothing at all. And the last thing would be we would store those three different options, which will be maximum for now, so we can just hard code it here like this. We can copy paste and we can call this option 1, option 2 and option 3. If we save this and go back to the website, we should be able to see we don't see anything, so let's check the console. We will solve this error by importing the forms module in our app module. So if we go back and head to app.module.ts, we have to import inside and imports the forms module as well as a reactive forms module. This way we'll have access to the form builder, which will be then injected. So if we go back, then we can see our forms is visible again. Now we need to connect our form to the actual view. We do this in two simple steps. We go back to the HTML file, go to the top, and inside the form we define a binding called form group. Now we are getting also auto completion because we have imported the modules, and inside we type the variable, which in our case it's PollForm. Then the next step is that we have to, for each input, write the form control name. So for the question, the form control name will be the name which we have defined inside our form group here. So this will be the question. So we wrap our form in the form group, which we set as PollForm, and now we have to bind it to form control names, which are these things inside. So the first one will be question. We can just copy paste this, bind it to next input, which will be image, and bind it to all options, which will be OP1, OP2, and also OP3 over here. If we save it, go back to the website, then we are still good. Now to make sure that our form is bind properly, we have to output it to the console to see if we are getting the proper value. So for the form there is a special attribute called ng-submit, and we bind a function called, let's call it submit form, and this function we will just create in our TypeScript file. Let's call it submit form, and this one will just console log our form value, so we can write PollForm.value to see if the bindings are working properly. We go back to our website, write question, what's your favorite color, image URL, let's say https image.png, option 1 blue, red, yellow. And before we hit submit, let's go back, open inspect, go to console, and now submit. and we can see that our form is bound properly. We have the image, we have the option 1, option 2, option 3, and the question. So now we are ready to submit it. So our PollCreate component is almost done. The last thing we want to do is to show this form only when you click create poll. In order to do this, we'll go to our root component, which is app component. We can delete the title over here, create some boolean flag, which we can call show form, set it by default to false, and depending on this flag, we either hide or show the component. So in the HTML file of the app root component, we can just show it if this is true. So inside the create poll button, we can listen for click event, and whenever the click event is executed, we just toggle the show form, basically change the state from whatever it was before to the opposite, so either true or false. We save, go back to the website and make sure it works, and as we can see it works. The form is shown or hidden. Also, the thing I noticed is that if we go to console, we can see one complaint from Bootstrap which is saying that it requires jQuery. Well, this is fine as long as we are going to use only the CSS classes. But if we would like to use components such as Bootstrap, Popover, or other ones which require JavaScript, we need to include the jQuery. In order to fix this error, we can go back. We will need to install the jQuery, so we can just type npm install jQuery, and when it's done, we go back to Angular JSON file, and inside the architect build and scripts, we need to include the jQuery before the Bootstrap, so it can load the jQuery before, just like this. So we point to distribution and jQuery minified. Then we have to restart the server again, and afterwards the error should disappear. It's no longer here. So our form component is done and working, and we can go to the next one.